as our movement has become more and more uh, shifted from the temple to a congregation, so there is a lot of diversity in terms of the level of interest, commitment, competence of the individual devotees. So more and more now devotees are recognizing that ISKCON has to be more like a inspirational movement than an instructional movement. That means it's not that it gives instructions and this is what the followers have to do. Of course, there are some central principles, but even those principles, not everybody in ISKCON is going to chant 16 rounds. Even initiated devotees may sometimes falter. There may be very committed people who may not come to the level of 16 rounds. So that we could say it's like a set of concentric circles where some may be chanting, following the principles very committedly, and others may not. So that is what is increasingly happening in India as our movement is spreading. There are a good number of committed people joining, but there are also a large number of well-wishers coming. And that has happened through, say, food outreach, where we are distributing free food to people. I'm currently here in Govardhan Eco Village. So this is a place where students come for retreats. Corporate people come. They don't necessarily take up spirituality, but they become appreciative. So is an inspirational moment means people come. What David started by talking about, people are eclectic in today's world. So that willingness to open ourselves to people and let them take what they want to take. There is a, we could say there is cultural allure. The culture of Krishna consciousness has its appeal, but we create a very little distance between cultural experience and then cultural commitment. That means, you experience this, you like this, now this is the food you should be eating, or this is how you should be doing. So if we can have a little bit more openness, that okay, you experience this and then you take it as you like. So this is actually organically happening in India, and it's significant that it's happening even when there are people who are seriously taking up Krishna consciousness. But still that openness to, yes, now I'm not saying this happening in all the temples in India. There are many temples where, and as soon as the person starts coming, they're pushed to chant more rounds, come for the morning program, and especially give donations. So that is there. But there is this idea that rather than expecting people to become like us, we offer them inspiration and they take steps as much as they can. So now applying this to the Western world, what I find is the wisdom principles that we have, and also the message of love that we have. The wisdom principles culminate in the message of love. They're having a universal appeal, a huge appeal. But quite often they come with a whole set of cultural packaging, which can be helpful in attracting people, but it can be harmful when that is what people are expected to do, or that is what people are told, you have to do this. So if somehow we could, the one thing which could make Krishna consciousness, the first question answering, my understanding is, if we could separate, or not separate necessarily, emphasize the wisdom principles much more than the culture. The culture is attractive, but when it is imposed, or when it is expected that this is what you have to do to become, to follow these wisdom principles, this is what I have to do. So in my understanding, our wisdom can be vast, but essentially it's only two principles, that everybody has a relationship with Krishna, and the purpose of our movement is to help everyone develop their relationship with Krishna. So, but along with that, we bring in so many things which sometimes prevent people from even perceiving these two principles. So Prabhupada is actually remarkable in focusing on those two principles, and that's how he was able to attract such a large number of people. But unfortunately, rather than focusing on that purpose that Srila Prabhupada served, What we have ended up doing is getting into the specifics of what Prabhupada did, uh, and impose that or demand that. For me, a very powerful guideline here is the seven purposes of ISKCON. It's remarkable. Now, most ISKCON temples will consider the success in terms of, say, ultimately it's number of people getting initiated, or even number of people chanting 16 rounds. But the seven purposes of ISKCON doesn't mention anything about initiation. It doesn't mention anything about the chanting number of rounds being chanted. It doesn't mention anything about a particular dress to be worn. It doesn't mention anything about a particular kind of food to be eaten. Now, I'm not saying any of these are not important, but they have often been given far more importance than they need to be.